Hi guys, welcome to chapter 3 review of One Flew Over Cuckoo's Nest. This is a pretty hefty chapter, so let's get into it. So this chapter starts off with Murphy. He's in the day room where everyone else is, and he is, just sort of like looking around. And this is when we sort of get a break from what's really going on, and the narrator talks to us and tells us about the social hierarchy and social aspect of the ward. And we learn that there are two main groups at the in the ward. One is the acutes and the other is the chronics. And the acutes, they are typically younger, and they have mental problems that can be fixed, and are they're not going to be in the ward for a long time. And then we have the chronics. These are chronically ill people, and they're gonna be pretty much in the ward for probably the rest of their lives. And their disabilities are a lot more severe, and they need a lot more help. And one of the important things to note that the nurses and staff do not want the acutes and the chronics mixing. They are always kept separate. They're on separate sides of the room, and they sort of use fear to encourage the acutes, saying you better be good before you turn into a chronic, and stuff like that. So our McMurphy, he pretty much falls into the acute area, and he's over there introducing himself and demanding that he speaks to the person in charge, because he is going to be the new bull goose of the ward. So this is sort of how in movies, when someone goes to prison, they're find the biggest person in there and establish your ground so you can be the new head person. And so that's pretty much what he's doing, trying to establish that he is in charge and in control, and he will be the new head person of the ward. But the current head person now, as we learn, is Mr. Harding. And Mr. Harding, he says, okay, I'll have a meeting with you at noon with Mr. McMurphy, and they'll figure out who is going to be the new bull goose. Another thing that I wanted to note about this chapter is that we get the use of this word combine, and in the relation to the book, the combine is a metaphor for this dehumanizing force or element that seeks to promote conformity and suppress individuality. And so in this in the book, the narrator uses combine to represent society and officials and stuff like that. And so he claims that chronics are people who are the bad batch of the combine. They're the bad products, and which makes sense when you think of the narrator's metaphor of factories and machines. If you have a factory and you're producing products and goods, one in every 1,000 product is going to be non-sellable, and have some sort of defect. And so that's what he's saying chronics are. Those are the 1 in 1,000 with defects, and they're shoved away into this mental hospital so that the rest of society can pretend everything else is good. So we also learned that people can come into the hospital as an acute, and then stuff can happen and they can become a chronic. And so this happened to we get to two notable examples of this. The first one is this man called Ellis, and we learned that he came in as an acute, but he went to the shock shop, which is electric shock therapy, and it was too strong for him, and it pretty much fried his brain. And so now he's in chronic, and he basically stands nailed against the wall all day, so much so that he uses the bathroom on himself just all day. And then our second instance is his name, Mr. Ruckley. And Ruckley, he came in as an acute as well, but he had a messed up head installation, And head installation is just like a lobotomy, but like obviously their factory concept, like installations when you like change like machinery and stuff like that. So that's the narrator sticking to this factory metaphor. And so now he is also a chronic. And like both of these people are called failures by like the nursing staff, but our narrator notes that like that Ruckley especially, he would rather be Ruckley than have a working lobotomy or a regular lobotomy, because he says that anyone else is just another robot for the Combine, and so like another like robot for society, essentially. Another thing that's important to note is that Miss McMurphy, he does not abide to like the social workings of like separate like acutes on one side and chronics on this side. He introduces himself to all the acutes, and then he immediately crosses the room and starts introducing himself to the chronics, which is very like abnormal, and like the staff does not really like this, because he is not treating the chronics different than the acutes. He's treating them all as like the same, essentially. And so that's something that I think will be important for the rest of the book, how he like sort of like brings everyone together and like doesn't treat them differently, because like right now they're like divided. So that's like important. And so the last chronic that McMurphy introduced himself to is our narrator, and so this is the first interaction that we have like between the two of them specifically. And like it for me, I don't know for you guys, but for me it was just in this chapter, like pretty much like this time, when I learned that our narrator was Mr. Broomden. I thought they were two different people, but I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you thought that they were different people. So Mr. Broomden, he we learned that he is actually Chief Broomden, and he is from the Columbia Indian tribe, and he is pretending to be deaf and like dumb and like disabled. And so when Mr. McMurphy walks over to him, he immediately bursts out laughing. And Miss Chief Broomden, he like assumes that Mr. McMurphy like understood what he was saying, you know, like he clocked his teeth real bad, like he was like, you're joking, like you're lying. And so this like scares Chief Broomden a little bit, but he doesn't really let it show. He like still plays along, and McMurphy doesn't say anything back either, or like contradict him in his disability. The very last interaction in the book we get is between Big Nurse and McMurphy, and Big Nurse basically tells McMurphy that the rules apply to everyone and he's no different, and so he needs to have his like shower. And McMurphy says, you know, ma'am, you know, that is the exact thing somebody always tells me about the rules, just when they figure I'm about to do the dead opposite. So I think that this is like a very like telling interaction where McMurphy, he understands like he's a rule breaker, and it pretty much says like he's going to break the rules again. Like he knows it, and the staff knows it, and so it's just a matter of like how and when. So yeah, this chapter was a really good chapter. I really liked it. Learned a lot about the characters and everything. So let me know what you guys thought about it, and I'll see you in chapter 4.